we have had PECS banning out Teemo whenever their second pick, and then taking Teemo when their first pick. So we'll see what they do in game 2. But they did ban him out this time against Zabers. Zabers has always been known for his Teemo, but recently starting to shine with Evelynn, and there we go. We do see the Evelynn ban coming out from PECS. I've been waiting for that. Zabers now having 2 target bans against himself. Of course, Evelynn is overall a good champion, but it's ever since Teemo has been pretty much permabanned, Zabers has been showing up with Evelynn, making a lot of big plays, playing pretty much similarly to the way he plays Teemo, and gave PECS a lot of trouble the past 2 weeks. So we'll see how they do now, or what Zabers picks rather, now that Evelynn has also been banned out. Of course, a ton of other champions at his disposal, but we just had to see which one he picks up. Blitzcrank also was the last ban for point defense. Meanwhile, Brand being picked up immediately for point defense, and Blueberry going ahead with his trusty Ezreal. Zyra going to be picked up first by PECS. Interesting there. I mean, we've seen Zyra coming back, as I mentioned earlier. To pick Zyra first over perhaps some other high priority champions, really shows how strong she is now, and also kind of a testament to what PECS has in store. We are going to see Urgot being highlighted for point defense, and I mean, we did see Sauron playing Urgot earlier in the top lane. Like I mentioned, he used to be really heavy in the bot lane, just kind of pushing and dueling 1v1, but we've been seeing point defense play him top lane, and I believe a couple other teams too in the past. I mean, he's really good in team fights, so having him top lane really helps. Also for the poke onto the windmill, especially at level 3, in the very first team engagement, it's a pretty solid attribute to have. And then we do have Malphite being locked in for point defense. Meanwhile, we do have Painkiller highlighting Sejuani more or less probably as a taunt towards point defense. I don't see PECS picking up Sejuani here. I do see them picking up Pantheon. Panzer is highlighting that Pantheon. And we're actually going to see Painkiller lock in with Sejuani. So PECS bringing out Sejuani against High Peoples this time around. They're going to go ahead and also lock in Pantheon, I would say. I don't see them switching that around. Or, I mean, they could, but there's no reason to necessarily switch out of Pantheon. Solid champion, we do see that locked in. I mean, Sejuani, we saw the power of Sejuani, and I'm seeing that Painkiller apparently has been playing a lot of Sejuani, so I'm excited to see that. I think she really does have her place. She's a huge damage soak, and we saw her showing some really good teamfight control last game. And if you can get ahead, especially, I mean, then you have the ability to get your critical mass earlier in terms of damage soak, and kind of, I guess, conduct how the game plays out in the mid game, because you're able to initiate and just completely zone out the enemy team and choose where each of the enemy members are going to be located. People are discussing this right now in chat, and yeah, Painkiller is really known for his Amumu. He's had some amazing Amumu games, but of course, unfortunately, Amumu's been banned. I would say Sejuani plays in some ways similarly. You do have the AoE stun initiate on the ultimate. Of course, it's a little bit different though, because it's a skill shot, so there's a little bit more of a risk factor, but at the same time it's better in a sense because you can initiate from range and then jump in with your charge rather than having to land the bandage toss. So either way, both champions rely on a skill shot for solid initiation. Meanwhile, point defense going ahead and finishing their roundup with Singed and Vayne. So we've been seeing some double AD comps lately. We're also seeing Kog'Maw and Ezreal on PECS. Both these teams have had ADs going bottom actually, and farming up and pushing against the other one and going into 1v1 duos, and then switching it up mid game rather than having a standard kind of bruiser pusher in the bottom lane. So this should be really interesting to watch. I'm very excited to see Singed back in the game. And I mean, are we going to see Infeed go with Kog'Maw bottom? Most likely yes. Are we going to see Urgot go bottom though? I'm not so sure. Sauron has been playing Urgot quite a bit in the top portion. There are some really good other options. I mean, Singed is a good option there. Vayne could also just be bottom and farm up against Kog'Maw. We'll see how that plays out for point defense. So we're gonna hit the 3-minute mark here. Take out the summoner blockers. Nothing too shocking there. Quite a few exhausts, of course, revives on everyone, and a couple garrisons. Actually, only one on each team. It used to be very standard to have 2 garrisons on each team, but we are going to see only one alongside 2 ignites for point defense and 3 exhausts for PECS. Nothing too out of the ordinary recently, but compared to the past, definitely has shifted just a tad bit. So as we wait, I just want to remind you guys once again that these teams have been going at it in the finals for 3 weeks in a row now. I think before that, PECS was holding the first seed for quite a little while, and now Point Defense has been holding it for 2 weeks straight. We'll see if they can extend it to 3 weeks. Also, a quick reminder for those of you who are new, if you are interested in entering, it's free to enter, but you do have prizes. You get RP, and I think you also get maybe the Tournament Rise skins still if you win first place. A couple other things. So definitely worth a shot. I mean, if you're going to be playing League of Legends anyway on a Saturday and you're interested in trying out Dominion, or maybe for some of you who out there who still think, Dominion's easy, then hey, this is easy RP, so you should enter, and then maybe you'll find out it's not so easy anymore. But anyway, I was definitely a convert to Dominion. I think it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of intricate maneuvers that you can learn. So check it out. You can sign up at Cybersports Network. You go to cyber-sports.net. Then you click on Dominate Dominion number 33, which will be next week's, and then you'll be able to sign up. For those of you who don't have a team, you can check out the chat room in-game, in the client, at Dominate Dominion. And also DominateDominion.com has a forum section for finding teams or finding team members. So, go check that out. We'd love to have more teams enter. It's always fun to cast more and more games. Even if I'm solo casting, it's a lot of fun. I'm Chilbur, by the way. For those of you who just entered, your caster for the night. Usually I'm joined by Gander, but he's still having tech issues. So going solo. Going solo this week once again. And we have 40 seconds left. Gander and I always talk about how it's a little bit difficult to talk about things in the finals because we've covered a lot of the champions. I mean, I guess there are a couple of new champions here that I didn't really go in depth about earlier. But it's also much easier to explain how things play out in game rather than theory crafting because you never know, if they're going to build something different. I mean, usually you can kind of guess, but it's rather futile, especially in the finals. With these teams, they often bring out new things, so it's much more exciting to kind of see how things play out. So we save that for in-game talks. Of course, Dominion, it is rare to have some downtime for analysis, so that's the flip side in casting Dominion. But we are going to be jumping into Game 1. Once again, the finals are a best of 3 between Point Defense and Payzone and Child Support. Point Defense, or Plus5, they are the defending champions from last week and the week before. So we'll see if they can hold on to that a third week in a row, or if Payzone and Child Support finally going to take their spot back in the first seed spot and try to maintain another streak going for themselves. Sorry about the silence there. Had a little bit of a cough. So didn't want to blow your ears out, but we have jumped into the game. So again, we usually don't talk about starting items too much anymore because they've been pretty standard. I mean, prospector items all around. We do see Sejuani starting with that Dorn Shield and the Ruby Crystal. Otherwise, fairly standard. Infeed setting up to go bottom as that Lion Dance Kog'Maw. Well, Sauron does look to be going bottom this game on Urgot. And they're going to be sending High Peoples on Vayne up top alongside the rest of the team. So it should be interesting to see how this works out for point defense. I mean, they have MNKH on Singed, but Zaber's on Malphite. Now, Singed, of course, is an initiator who runs in and kind of isolates people, while Zaber's on Malphite is going to be an initiator who wants everyone grouped up, going in with an Unstoppable Force. Of course, it could work out that you just Unstoppable Force first, and then MNKH isolates the target they want, or maybe even peel for High Peoples and excuse me, Necrogen. So we'll see how that works out for point defense. I think it's a little bit more straightforward for PECS here. I mean, they do have the initiate from Painkiller. Converteris also has some really good AoE initiate with Grasping Roots and Stranglethorns later on. And of course, Panzers. Ooh, we had a little bit of miscommunication there, but PECS, it seems, having two people on the drill for a split second there. But it's not going to matter too much. Panzer's still going to make it up to the windmill just fine. Good adhesive used by MNKH. They're actually going to start the fight right away before anybody reaches the tower. Zabers has taken a ton of burst, and MNKH actually now has taken a lot of kiting bursts from Blueberry and Panzers. Also, Commentary's good reaction, putting out that plant right away to zone out the rest of the enemy team. But a good attempt by MNKH. Good Pillar of Flame coming down from Necrogen, and now it's a little bit more standard. We do have Painkiller jumping right in. Commentaries follows with her plants, and Zabers is going to clean that up right away. And again, both teams going back to channeling onto the tower. MNKH is really low right now, so we may see PECS going for the aggressive move in the next few seconds here, especially with Commentaries coming by on the side, gets the snare, and MNKH goes down with one more attack from Captain Blueberry. Zaber's also going to get sniped and then finished by Panzers. Painkiller goes in with the slow, good condemned by High Peoples though to disengage, and that leaves PECS free to channel onto the windmill. Blueberry just making sure that no one comes through, and they're going to capture that. Blueberry initiating the port back right away, and MNKH is going to make a beeline for the drill, but now just scouting out the situation, making sure gets the adhesive right onto Panzers. Now Panzers just roaming about. MNKH is going to try to chase Panzers, but gets spotted by Painkiller. Painkiller misses the charge, but MNKH is still going to get slowed and stunned by Panzers and Painkiller. There's the poison trail, though Panzers does really needs to stop chasing. There we go, going to disengage right there. Meanwhile, bottom lane, we do have the tower has been neutralized, so Blueberry comes down to assist in feed there. And Converteris gets taken out, meanwhile, up at the windmill. So Painkiller and Panzers now back up top to defend for PECS. Zabers and Necrogen up in the front line a little bit, while High Peoples pushes up the lane, gets the farm. Vayne really going to be strong late game. There's the Garrison going down defensive from PECS. And now we do see Necrogen landing a really good Pillar of Flame, but Commentaries comes in from the side, picks off Necrogen, and puts out the plants just in case he tries for an escape. Really good positioning there by Commentaries with those plants. Meanwhile, Sauron just pushing up against Infeed still. And yeah, I mean, I would say Urgot really has the earlier advantage against Kog'Maw. Has a bit more tankiness, has just as much poke, if not more, with those locked on Acid Hunters with the Noxious Corrosive Charge. And it's really going to come down to, can Infeed farm up and get to the later game where he can just really drill down Urgot. MNKH, meanwhile, has that Storm Shield, and no one has it from PECS. Necrogen's going to get caught out, though. Instantly going to be bursted down. Good Pyroclasm before he goes down, leaving MNKH to do some damage. And that brings Commentaris down pretty low, but not low enough. Meanwhile, bottom lane, we do see that Kog'Maw's been taken down again, but we're still going to follow MNKH on this chase. No, he's going to give up on that chase right there. High Peoples, meanwhile, is shown down bottom to assist with that kill. Painkiller now showing up bottom and teaming up with Infeed, who just had to blow his revive. Meanwhile, up top, we do see Commentaris getting caught by Necrogen and going to go down to a really good combo. Captain Blueberry reacting a tad bit late there, and even if he had reacted, Commentaris definitely was going to go down. It was a matter of whether he could have picked up the cleanup kill. Panzers dueling with MNKH. MNKH playing some good positioning game and forcing Panzers to retreat. So MNKH is now going to make his way up to the windmill. Now, can they get some channel down onto the windmill before the teammates appear for PECS? I'm not so sure. MNKH is going to charge through. High People shows up. MNKH has been exhausted, but that means the exhaust is not there for High Peoples. Blueberry gets stunned by Condemn, and High People is going to move out of Pantheon's ultimate range, but gets caught right by Painkiller. Good positioning by Painkiller. Double kill for Panzers. Can he get the triple? They're chasing Necrogen down. Panzer's stun should be up quite soon, but Zabers with the save. Unstoppable Force comes in, picks up an immediate kill. Necrogen trying to come back in. Panzer's low on mana. They can turn this around, Zaber's now chasing down Panzers. Necrogen needs to put down one more ability. He needs to watch out for the crits though. Panzers is scared for his life. Zaber's with the seismic shard over the wall to pick up the shutdown. And now Painkiller in a little bit of danger. Commentators puts on the Stranglethorns, but High Peoples is here to get the kill. No, it's actually a double kill for Malphite. Gets shut down by the passive true damage, and Booberry and Painkiller coming in for the cleanup. Kill goes to Painkiller. Meanwhile, Sauron's going to keep pushing down against this bottom lane. Bottom lane, it's not going to see as much action until we see some more ganks here. We did see a couple kills already, but not too much. Meanwhile, Panzer's going to pick up that Storm Shield for PECS. That's going to be really good, especially on an AD caster like Pantheon. Just tons of extra burst coming through. MKH chasing down Booberry. Booberry forced to use this Arcane Shift, but that's not going to matter too much. It should be up before he gets in danger once again. Meanwhile, bottom lane Infeed is in a lot of danger. We see that gank, as I talked about. Necrogen comes down for assistance, but Painkiller and Commentators come in, making it still a 2v2, and PECS is ahead in terms of health right now, but are they going to get kited? Sauron's really low on mana, so they're not going to get kited, and they're actually going to disengage themselves. So Sauron just going to pick up that health relic, which does give mana for those of you who didn't know. And that leaves the top open for a fight. Zaber's fighting against Panzers and Booberry, trying to zone out the other two so that High Peoples can channel. It's a 3v2, but MKH is really low, and so is the rest of point defense. Meanwhile, Booberry's low on mana though, so Zaber's actually just distracting him long enough, comes back in with the ground slam, but Panzers is still channeling onto this tower. Painkiller comes in. Zaber's is in a lot of trouble right now. High Peoples still milling about, but not going to really be of much help. Zaber's actually goes back in with the Ensemble of Force as soon as Painkiller turns around. Really good play coming in from Zaber's, knowing exactly when he can get the kill. MKH channeling onto the tower. Zaber's is going to get out alive, not going to get caught by Grasping Roots. MKH gets sacrificed, and Panzers picks up that kill, but Necrogen is going to start pushing back the lane. Really good play by Zaber's, but they still have to give up the windmill. Meanwhile, Sauron chasing down Infeed. Again, Sauron still has a huge lead. He actually uses the position reverser to pick up the health relic. Really good play. He's going to dodge the two-shot barrage and pick up the kill onto Infeed. Just brilliant micro coming out from Sauron, and he knows he's still stronger. He knows he's still tankier, but still has a decent amount of damage with those Acid Hunters. Also has that Sheen going for that Trinity Force. It's going to be a lot of burst going up against Kog'Maw. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, it's really going to come down to, can Infeed ever hit critical mass at all? Urgot's just pressuring him so much, and if we don't see more support from PECS down onto the bot lane, we may see that be the downfall of PECS, even though they're holding onto the windmill. As soon as Urgot keeps getting stronger and stronger and Kog'Maw's not able to farm up as much, it's going to be a bit of a problem. But Necrogen gets caught by Panzers, and Captain Booberry gets instantly bursted down, and Panzers picks up yet another kill, 6-1 and 2. You're talking about that gold. Urgot's at 5,800, 5,900, while Kog'Maw's only at 5,000. So pretty big difference already. MKH, meanwhile, coming through. There's the super adhesive. They're going to try to chase out onto Infeed, but here comes Pantheon. Point defense needs to watch out. MKH actually gets caught in tower range. A little bit of mispathing there from MKH. Didn't want to run through Pantheon's ultimate, but instead gets caught in tower range. High Peoples comes in, trying to get the cleanup. Panzers is definitely going to go down. The question is, can High Peoples pick up or Infeed pick up a kill? No. Painkiller now trying to clear the wave, but 3 members of point defense down here. There's the Ensemble of Force. Sauron trying to channel on. There's a Garrison though. High Peoples needs to get out of tower range. Eventually gets taken down, and Infeed going to go down. Can the Acadian surprise pick up the kill? Sauron here. No, he's going to live. He turns around to kite Painkiller as Zaber still puts out some good damage. There's a Seismic Shard. They're going to get the kill onto Painkiller and also get the tower. Sauron channeling at the tower immediately to save himself. Really good play. Painkiller using his revive to come back, but this tower's definitely gone. The minions are pushing up too much. No, she's going to stop Sabers, and Sejuani doing some really good work for PECS right now, zoning out Zabers and Sauron, sandwiching them. Sauron trying to get the escape. He does get stunned, but it was a really good attempt. He's actually going to make it out alive unless Painkiller can come through, but there's the stun, or the slow rather, coming up from Sauron. Brilliant play coming out from Urgot. Meanwhile, top Necrogen, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm assuming a couple kills went down because Commentaris is still in his death timer, but Necrogen, only man alive, up at the windmill, gets the windmill, 4-point defense. It's a 3-cap now in favor of point defense. First 3-cap they've had, if I'm not mistaken, so this is their time to start coming back. MMKH is still up top to defend. You know, they're hitting some good momentum right now. Sauron's doing really well bot lane. High Peoples is getting really strong. Zabers is really mobile. They catch Captain Booberry. Jumps right into Sauron with that arcane shift. And with Ezreal gone, Point Defense can look to make a play here, maybe a little bit more aggressive, or even just hold on to the 3 cap but pressure the enemy a lot more. MMKH is going to get caught a little bit with Necrogen, trying to get the cutoff. Miscommunication there on whether they're going to team fight or not. High Peoples was very low though, so good call by Point Defense to disengage right there. But if we look, I mean, we do have High Peoples having a full Phantom Dancer already, and that's really all Vayne needs. We'll see if High Peoples is going to go for straight Phantom Dancers. We're going to build that Sanguine Blade or even Infinity's Edge in the middle there, get some extra burst AD damage and also some crits in terms of the Infinity's Edge. MNKH going to zone out Painkiller and Panzers here in the middle of the map. Middle up top, Commentaries left all alone, and Necrogen's dot is going to pick up the kill. The passive true damage not going to hit anyone, so a little bit unfortunate. But meanwhile, bottom lane, Urgot gets caught and killed by Booberry and Infeed, and this is where double AD really comes into play, and it's going to come into play a lot more for PECS, because their ADs are actually late game carries rather than Urgot. But Painkiller is caught in a 3v1. Good use of his ultimate to try to escape, but High People still going to chase down, and that's where Vayne really shines, chasing people down and eliminating them, just as her lore says. Xavier meanwhile going to get a good seismic shard down onto Captain Booberry. Xavier's trying to position himself for a really good ground slam and some mono blocking, but we do have PECS picking up that objective, so Booberry has the damage buff. Xavier's still dueling 1v1. He's actually looking really good in this duel. Booberry has to kite, and there's the exhaust though, but there's the unstoppable force. Xavier's just one more attack. No, he stalled, and Booberry picks up the kill. I'm not sure what happened there, but Xavier's unfortunately was not going to get that last auto attack in, and gives the kill to Booberry. Meanwhile, MMKH is going to try to take the quarry back for Point Defense, but that leaves the windmill wide open for Panzers. So Panzers is going to go ahead and channel. He should get the neutralize without too much issue. No, I'm going to take that back because Xavier's is going to get there just in time, and a good stun by High People's, stopping Painkiller's advancement, but has to run away as Commentaries also shows up, gets hit by the 2-shot barrage. High People's getting completely zoned out by Painkiller right now. High People's will come out on top in this duel though, but Booberry shows up, and we do see High People's go down. Commentaries also using Stranglethorns for the cutoff should Vayne make an escape. Meanwhile, Panzers, there's the Hex Drinker's shield, and now he has to run away, but so does Xavier. Xavier nearly gets caught by Grasping Roots, but he's going to be okay for the time being. Good Pillar of Flame disrupting the channel by Captain Blueberry, but Panzers is still on the other side. And that left MNKH and Sauron to pick up the kill down at the Boneyard. So Point Defense still has the 3 cap, and this is where they're going to start shining. They're being a lot more mobile right now, and as soon as they start losing 1 point, they go to another. Meanwhile, PECS, they only got the windmill because a fight ended, and there was a lull in action. Xavier's catching Convertarius out as Convertarius was channeling back towards base. Good catch right there. That's going to leave Booberry wide open at the windmill. And Xavier's is pretty low, but so is High People's, but gets the stun onto Captain Booberry. Good tumble, and High People's wins the duel, picks up the kill. Necrogen and Xavier's going to go ahead and start channeling onto the windmill and get the 4 cap. 4 Point Defense. Meanwhile, down bot, MNKH doing some good damage onto Painkiller, while Sauron cannot finish the job just yet. But still, Painkiller forced to run away. Sauron, can he get the kill? Yes, with the corrosive charge, picks up the kill with the dot. But good kiting coming out from Infeed. Look at this kiting Kog'Maw. And then now kiting onto MNKH, gives the kill to Blueberry. Brilliant play by Infeed. That's going to be the Boneyard for PECS. But that's no worries for Point Defense, because that means it's just going to go back to a regular 3-2 cap rather than a 4-1 cap. So Point Defense really catching up right now. They hold the momentum. Infeed is hitting some critical mass, so has that Frozen Mallet for kiting and a little bit more tankiness, and then has that Zeal, has another dagger, most likely going to be built into a Phantom Dancer. That's going to mean a lot, especially against someone like MMKH, who has a ton of health with that Rod of Ages, but he does have a Thornmail, not an item we see that often, but brilliant item pickup against Infeed and Captain Booberry. Look at Booberry just being chunked down by that Thornmail. We see MNKH just barely now hitting him with Poison Trail, and Booberry's still taking so much damage. He's down a half with only his own attacks and a little bit of Poison Trail, so really good pickup. Convertarius now coming in for the cutoff, but actually taking a lot of damage from Sauron. High Peoples gets a stun onto Painkiller, but needs to, good tumble with Final Hour, gets the 1-for-1 trade against Captain Booberry, and now Panzer's chasing down Sauron. They're going to give up on the chase, because what do they see? MNKH channeling onto the drill, and Sauron's trying to keep them busy long enough, takes down Convertarius, and now Panzer's and Infeed totally focused on this kill, but Painkiller and Blueberry have shown up at the drill to stop MNKH, and he's going to have to run away. I don't think he's going to make it out, especially with someone like Sejuani. Was infinite slows, gets him with the charge. 2-shot barrage is going to miss, but there's a Mystic Shot. Is that going to be the windmill for PECS? No. Here comes Necrogen on Brand to stop the advancement just for the time being, and Hyphy was actually cuts off Panzers alongside Zabers for the kill, and the neutralize on the drill turns around, but good lockdown by Painkiller, leaving the kill for Booberry, and now Painkiller caught by Necrogen. Panzers has shown up at full health. The Zabers really needs to turn around and help Necrogen right now. They're going to go ahead and put down the Pyroclasm just for extra burst. Not the most optimal use, but gets the Pillar Flame and the Seismic Shard for the kill onto Painkiller, and Zabers now going to get taken down under the drill, but the drill has been neutralized and they stalled long enough. Once again, Dominion's a game of stalling. Meanwhile, bottom lane Infeed goes down. His Acathian Surprise is not going to be enough to take down Sauron. Also, Sauron using his shield just in case. MK is going to start channeling onto the Boneyard, forcing Infeed to use his revive. Again, all about stalling and all about forcing those revives, especially when everyone has it. That was a really good force by MKH. Now that revive is down, the clock's ticking down lower and lower, so late game, we might see Infeed not have a revive for a clutch situation. Meanwhile, Commentary is stalling High Peoples long enough. High Peoples really wants the kill, does get the kill, and now draws Booberry outside of tower range. And is actually going to stick around. I'm not sure about that decision. Maybe waiting for MKH, maybe thought could get another stun with Condemn, but it wasn't able to be pulled off. And now 3 members of PECS up at the windmill. True Shot Barrage coming down to chunk down against MKH, but the Thornmail really doing work. Zabers comes in, they need to stop. No, the tower does go neutral. So now all 3 members of PECS decide to give up on the tower. Good Ensemble Force picking up 1 kill. Now keeping Panzers locked down. Necrogen shows up. Panzers actually jumps across. Good ultimate from Painkiller, but still not going to be enough. Good Pyroclasm coming out from that Brand, picks up the kill. Pillar Flame not going to hit Painkiller, and Zabers going to just force Painkiller to run away with that Seismic Shard. They immediately turn around to pick up the windmill. Good play, and High Peoples with the cleanup. Might even get Cafeterias here. Needs to get the Condemn if they want to fight, but the plants are a little bit scary for High Peoples, so High Peoples going to back off. The Blackfire Torch really doing a lot of work for Zyra here, being played by Cafeterias. Now we see 2 people up top for point defense, just defending the windmill. Booberry running through the Moose Beast Shrine here, going for a gank down bot, but MKH is there first. Infeed in a lot of trouble, and we are going to see MKH just try to position himself as best he can for a really good fling, but Infeed still doing so much work alongside Booberry, and Panzers actually comes in and snatches that kill for PECS against Sauron. That forces Necrogen to come down bot, so the Quarry's still going to be safe for point defense. So I'm not sure how worth that kill was to send 2 extra people down bot for PECS. I mean, that they had to get a tower from a gank like that, but they did leave Painkiller up top, who actually picked up a kill against Zabers with the help of Cafeterias. 2v1, 1-for-1 trade, but Painkiller comes out on top because Painkiller is going to get the windmill now for PECS, especially with those minions. No worries there, even with Necrogen approaching. And Necrogen definitely cannot dive this right now, so they're just going to kite back and forth, I imagine. But Booberry is going to show up. Painkiller is going to start the slow train, and Booberry shows up with a lot of damage. Good Pyroclasm, good separation though by Booberry and Painkiller. Such good micro. Booberry still gets taken down though by, we see that Necrogen's dot and also his last minute burst takes out the kill, but High Peoples gets immediately massacred by Panzers. So point defense definitely coming out under in that engagement. MKH and Zaber is now going to start pushing through up at the windmill. It's 2v1 right now. Cafeterias alone, a little bit dangerous. MKH running through the tower, flips Cafeterias out of tower range, and now forcing her outside of the entire tower. So Zabers is going to continue the chase. Minions are pushing out against the windmill, but Painkiller's here. A good Garrison across the wall. Cafeterias in a little bit of trouble, but MKH in more trouble. Going to live? No. Is the Blackfire Torch going to get him? I'm not so sure. Meanwhile, Cafeterias is trying to run away, but Seismic Shard picks up the kill, and Booberry goes ahead and gets both of the cleanup kills onto MKH and also Zabers. Good cutoff by Ezreal. So point defense had a little bit of the lead right there, but PECS really making a stronger comeback, and now they're pressuring the refinery, and that's going to be the cue for Sauron and the High Peoples to just go ahead and pressure the Boneyard. There's a position reverser onto Infeed. Tons of damage coming down. The defensive stats really working out in favor of Sauron. Trying to get the kill. High Peoples making sure to come back just in case some shenanigans comes out from Infeed. And they're going to go ahead and channel the tower. It's going to be neutralized, but Pantheon's channeling is the ultimate. The minions are going to be cleared out. They're not going to be able to get the capture, but Pantheon gets caught in the Condemn. But there's his own stun. High Peoples, brilliant tumble with Final Hour to pick up the kill onto Panzers, and now forced to run away as Cafeterias and Painkiller approach. Meanwhile, MKH chasing down Booberry, not able to get the fling. So Booberry's going to escape just fine onto the windmill. We do have Zabers meeting up with Painkiller, the two tanks. I would say, I mean, I'm not sure who would come on. I would say Zabers comes out on top in that duel. Zabers also has that Blackfire Torch instead of Painkiller, who only has really that Haunting Guys for extra damage. MMKH actually going to catch Confrontarius, lagging a little bit behind the team, but Panchers is going to show up, gets the stun onto MMKH. But again, not enough damage. MMKH is really, really tanky right now, singed, pretty much hitting his critical mass right at this moment. Rod of Ages, Frozen Heart, and then Thornmail for extra measure. Necrogen gets bursted down by Panzers though, as Booberry gets sacrificed. Can Zabers make the getaway? Using Seismic Shard to try to run away, but there's a stun, and now there's the slow train from Painkiller. Zabers has also been exhausted. There's no getting out of this one. Actually, maybe there is. They're going to give up the chase. Meanwhile, bottom, there's a 1-for-1 trade, and ooh, good positioning by Infi to clear out that super minion to make sure that he doesn't do too much damage to the Boneyard down here, as minions are quite effective against towers. High Peoples, meanwhile, taking up the drill. Just going to go for the neutralize. Brilliant idea. Doesn't want to stay pretty low health. Don't want to stay to get caught out by anyone. Just want to get that neutralized to make sure they hold the lead. They have a 2-to-1 cap lead right now. Necrogen going to start annoying Panzers down here at the Boneyard, keeping it at 2-to-2 maximum, and that's going to leave High Peoples and MMKH to go ahead and zone out Painkillers here at the windmill. High Peoples, good positioning, and MMKH actually blocks the ultimate, so High Peoples does not get stunned. True Shot Barrage comes up, but MMKH still at really good health, going to start channeling at the windmill, and Zabers is going to start pushing away Booberry. MMKH looking for the kill. Ooh, good position, gets the flip against the wall. Booberry now at pretty low health. Good unstoppable force to finish off. Excellent burst, and Point Defense getting kills all across the map. Contreras now in a lot of trouble under his own tower. Good stasis coming up from Zonia's Hourglass, but it's not going to be enough. Good finish by MMKH and Zabers. Zabers distancing himself as to not get hit and line up for that skill shot true damage. And Point Defense going to go ahead and pick up that windmill. Meanwhile, a cleanup down at bot at the Boneyard. Commentaries using his revive to come down bot, and only to be killed off immediately by the crew of Point Defense. 3-man team onto Confrontarius. Can Necrogen and Sauron get the channel here? I don't think so. 3 members are showing up. They're actually going to go ahead and die if they don't watch out. Sauron going to get shut down. Necrogen should be able to make a getaway, and Infeed is going to turn around and channel onto that tower. But meanwhile, High Peoples and Zabers are going to zone out Panzers. At this point, they know exactly what they need to do. They just need to stall the clock out. They have 1 tower neutralized, and they have a 3 cap. They wanted to stall as long as possible. Zabers going to make sure the Painkiller keeps chasing him. Panzers making a good call to rush across the map. And as I thought, using his ultimate to go up top. Meanwhile, down bottom, we do see MMKH finishing off in feed. And there's the Unstoppable Force. Zabers just picking up snipes all across the map with those Unstoppable Force kills onto Captain Booberry, and now keeping Confrontarius busy so that this Boneyard cannot be captured. But the top windmill has been neutralized and captured by PECS, so it's a stall at 2 for 2. Clock has been stopped. Point Defense really needs to take a point back, and it might be the bottom here. Ooh, MKH getting sniped by Confrontarius. That's not good news, because Panzer is going to show up trying to zone out Zabers, and now Sauron doing what he can, but Infeed's going to show up, and there's a True Shot Barrage. Sauron in a really bad position. He's going to be finished off, and the Boneyard will surely go in favor of PECS, giving them the 3 cap on this High Peoples, and MMKH can make something happen against Painkiller up here at the windmill. So we do have Painkiller getting bursted down a little bit, but High People's taking a ton of damage. MMKH, is he going to turn around to help? No, High People's with a brilliant tumble going to finish off the kill. MMKH has been channeling this whole time, but Panzers shows up for the interrupt, but the minions will capture the windmill. Point Defense still has a 3-2 cap lead. Now we have the team setting up. It's a really tense moment right now as the clock's ticking down. Necrogen's going to go down immediately, but not without sending his Pyroclasts to do tons of damage. Zabers with the Unstoppable Force pickup, and also zoning out Booberry so Sauron can pick up the kill. Both damage dealers have been exhausted, but Panzer's eventually going to not go down. Is going to go down as Painkiller comes in, tries for the save, but Sauron is still really tanky, and that's the beauty of Urgot. Look at him survive through all that damage. Painkiller eventually gets the pickup, but Zabers is going to get the ace. High Peoples and MMKH on the drill. That's going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 going to Point Defense as they clean up all the towers across the map. And they're going to lead the series 1-0 against Payzem and Child Support. We do see PECS still trying to chase through